Hello, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Wow, looks like lots of people on this morning. You must be excited to start the mushroom. Okay, I'm just separating some strands so they're easy. I'm not gonna lie, I was watching a video from Towie, like at the very beginning. The Only Way is Essex. And brutal. Okay. All right, I'm ready. Let's make this go up. Good morning. Hello, hello. And then let's zoom in because we're going to do this mushroom, the top of the mushroom today. So just the red part. I don't want to give too much in one day, you know? So we're going to do just this red part here, this little half circle type situation. And a couple things before we get started. So you do need two colors for this. So you're going to need the color of the mushroom, which is mostly at the top here, and then down here on the edge. And then this is where we'll blend it, these little squiggly lines. And then you need another color for the middle part. That's what we're going to do today. So you need the two colors. We're going to use two strands for each of the parts. So two strands for the middle and then two strands for, I'm going to use a darker color. So a darker color around it. Okay, let me get my pen because I need a different color, not black. Purple, blue's probably better because you can see it against the black. Okay, so we've got two kind of things going on here. One, we have the direction of our stitches. So we're going to go into like art teacher mode a little bit here. Because we want this to look like a 3D object. So we want it to look like it's round everywhere. Yeah, like a 3D mushroom. So in order to do that, we're going to put our stitches in a way so that they are 3D, so that they all go around and up towards the middle. So the ones in the middle will be straight up, and then as you move out, they'll be angled just a little bit until we finally get the roundness here. So what we'll do is do one here like this. And this is the direction that your stitches will go. So as we get out this way, they should be angled this way. As we get out this way, they should be angled the other way. So let me just draw these in. I took the tiniest 0.5 pen, so you can barely even see these lines. I hope I haven't lost you yet. Okay, so we have that already, makes it look more 3D, doesn't it? And then the other thing that you have to pay attention to is this squiggle. So there's kind of two things going on here. Okay. I hope this is still making sense. I'm just going to check in every once in a while. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the darkest color that you've got, and we're going to do a stem stitch around the outside, just in the two strands, and that will help when we do our stitches later. So we'll just go on the other side of this stem stitch, and we'll do it all the way around the entire thing. Just let me know if you're like, whoa, you're not making any sense, Tori. Just slow down. Can you say that again? You can also go and watch it back if you want to. So we're just going to do a really long stem stitch around the outside. Hi. Hi, Mary. So I only have 2 strands, and the reason we're doing this is because, go away, is because we're going to put all of our stitches on the other side of this stem stitch, and it's going to make it a little, almost like a little ridge. So I'm using these two colors. Sorry, I didn't even show you. So I'm going to use the dark red for the outside part here, and then this lighter, like a pinkish mauve color for the inside part here. So first we're just prepping the outside edge. And this is where you can get really close to all of these plants that we've already stitched. Hi guys. Lots of people waving today. This red with this green, oh, it's too good. Now, obviously well, not so obviously, but obviously to me, the stem stitch, you don't always have to do this when you do when you fill it in, because we're not really going to fill it in with a satin stitch. We're going to fill it in with a long and short stitch, and it's going to be more like a thread painting type stitch. So normally when people do thread painting, they do it with 1 strand. We're going to do 2 strands because 1 is going to take forever. And we're still going to be able to get the effect that we want with 2. Do you use the same needle all the time, no matter how many strands you are using? No. So I have showed in the prep video the 3 needles that I normally use, and it's just a personal preference to me. So you don't have to change if you don't want to. I find it easier for the thread to stay in, like in the eye of the needle, if you use a smaller eye for less strands. So I won't show them all again right now, but if there's time at the end, I'll definitely do that. Or you can go back and do the prep video, look at the prep video, and there's lots of different ones when I talk about needles. So I'm just doing the bottom edge. So this is what we're gonna put our stitches on the other side of. Okay, so a little bit about long and short stitch. Normally, you do a longer stitch, and then next to it, you do a shorter stitch. And then next to that, you do a longer stitch. So all the stitches will blend together. There's also a long and short split stitch where you split every stitch as well, so it blends in. There's more like a thread painting where you take just 1 strand and they really blend together because there's only 1 strand. So we're going to do a kind of a mix of all of these because, hi George, because we don't want to necessarily see each stitch. So we'll take a little bit of the thread painting away. But then we don't want to have all of the stitches to be the same length. So we'll take a little bit of the long and short stitch way. But we also don't want to see every stitch. So we're going to take a little bit of the split stitch way. So I by no means invented this. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not that clever. But this is like the way that I normally do all of my thread painting when I want to make a more like blended seamless effect. Yay, it's raining again. Lord help us. Okay, I'm just gonna do one more here and then put it down. Okay, so I'll zoom in so you can see. So remember, we're gonna do all of the ones in the middle straight, and we're gonna make them longer and short. So I'm gonna start right here in the middle. And I'm only gonna go up to here. And we wanna make them different lengths, okay? So all of these ones here are gonna go on the other side of this stitch that we've just done. Of course, my thread's twisted, so. And then the next one is gonna go a little bit higher, right next to it. You can even go a little bit higher if you want to. I tend to go a little bit higher than I want to because I know that this color is gonna be blended into this color. So I don't wanna make it a straight line. Of course, it wouldn't be an Instagram live without at least one knot, you know? Now with this, you can work in a straight line like I am, just making your stitches of different lengths, or, which is what I normally do, is I tend to do a couple at a time like this and then go back and fill them in. And notice as I'm going out towards the edges, my stitches are becoming on an angle because we want to keep that look, you know, almost like an umbrella. Now, either way you do this is fine. Meaning if you want to keep it in a nice straight line and go across, or if you want to do a little bit and then come back and fill it in. Sometimes it's nice to do a little bit and come back and fill it in because then you can like get your guides in there and then you don't have to be like, oh, am I supposed to be, or like I didn't put them on an angle enough, or I didn't, you know? And this is another one of those things that I used to be so nervous to do because, like, where do you start? Like, how do you make it so that it all looks right and it all looks, you know, cohesive and, like, it doesn't look sloppy? But this is probably one of the most forgiving stitches because you can just go over it and over it and over it. I'm going to go straight over to the line like that. And then we'll go all the way back, making sure that these are long and short. So we want to fill in the space. We don't want to keep a straight line there. What's happening? Oh, that's the tail of my thread. And we've only got 2 strands. So yeah, it will take a little bit longer than 6 strands. But that's also why we're doing this on the weekend. Because if you don't finish it all today, and you probably won't, I probably won't finish it all today, even using like the full hour. This is where I need like a stool to sit on. And it makes that little like ridge like that because we're going over the stitches we've already done. I'm gonna need some more thread. So yeah, this does take a while. It does take a long time. But that's just the nature of thread painting, really, and the long and short stitch. So we're not really worried about if we split any of the stitches, meaning if we go through another stitch, that's absolutely fine. We're also not worried about, like, normally with satin stitch, you start and stop in the same place. So we want to keep them, you know, long and short. So I'll try and do maybe just this half with the 2 colors. And then if you have any questions, then that's fine. And then I might do this part a bit later, depending on how much time we have, you know? And it might be one of those where I come live later and work on it a bit more, just so that you guys have some more, so you can see the whole thing if you want to, you know? Some people will need to see it and some people won't. So there's that. Hello. Lots of waves. I like the waves. They're fun. Is anybody doing anything fun this weekend? Do you have fun plans? You don't have to go out to have fun or to have fun plans. Let's just say that. Love the color. Thank you. I think this one is DMC 816, I think, because I bought it for something else, but I didn't actually use it. So you just want to make sure that you cover up any of that white space. So like down here, I need to go back and do some of that some more, because you can still see the white fabric through the stitches. So you want to make sure that you really cover that up. And sometimes doing it like stitch by stitch, like in a row over, is good, because then you can really make sure that you fill it in. But sometimes it's nice to just jump around and put it where you need it, you know? So it just depends on what way that you like working best. I know some people in their brain, they can only do it a certain way because they're like, ooh, that's too random. That's too random for me. I cannot cope doing it that way, you know? Where you just jump around and this way, that way. And if you find that they're all getting the same length at the top, then just make one a little bit taller. And if you notice, I am going taller than this line here. So make sure that you're not going straight up to the line, because you're gonna need that extra space to blend the next color. So I'm almost done with the bottom. I'm trying to go fast. Let's see what people are doing. Kat says, I'm watching spooky movies and getting a pumpkin. That is so fun. Do you know what? My mom and dad, they sent my niece Quinn a pumpkin carving little set. It's so cute. So she's been begging us to get pumpkin. So I need to see if Ian has her this weekend. And if so, we might go and get a pumpkin and do that. So, all right, real quick. Very subtle, but these here are straight up and these here are on an angle. So make sure that you're doing those lines and making it making them on an angle. Otherwise, it will just look like you've just done a straight satin stitch the whole way. And in that case, why not just do a straight satin stitch? Why do all of this work? You know? And of course, if you are watching this video and thinking, that's not a bit of me, I'm not doing that, then don't do it. Just do a straight satin stitch. That's fine, you know? That's absolutely okay. So I think I've pretty much done that. Now I'm gonna go up and do the top part. Now this is just something that I like to do because I already have the color. So it's a little bit silly to swap colors and then swap colors again, you know, to go back to the red. So because I have the red out already, I'm going to do the exact same thing at the top. Again, making sure to do the angles. And you might have to do the grid like this. All right, let's see here. I think Laura said that it's half term, so Autumn walks, baking, and catching up on the stitch along. Miriam says, oh, I want to get a pumpkin too. Just walks and catching up with this hoop. A lovely, simple life. Aw, that honestly sounds so nice. Sorry. Had to scroll up because I missed some. Too busy talking, isn't it? Now I've obviously pulled down that stem stitch a little bit because you can see the outline there, but that's all right. Oh, it does take so much longer. So the less strands you have, the more thin your lines are going to be, which make it look a little bit more believable if you're looking for something that's realistic, like we are with this mushroom. Hello! Look at my mushroom. And I think, honestly, once you put away being a little bit scared of doing this, because I think some people get a little bit like, oh my gosh, it's too random for me. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Once you put that away and you just start stitching, you'll see it start to like come to life. Tash says it looks so good. Thank you. We'll see. We'll see. But honestly, say honestly again, Lord, it's like the word of the week. I feel like all I've said this week is honestly. If you didn't know, I'm being honest. So now I'm just going back to fill in here, and I'm going to do a little bit more on the edge just here because it's very, very, very loving the matching nails, by the way. It's autumn. I had to get out my dark colors. I forgot that I wanted to do, I have like a black color and it's got like gold flecks in it. And David was like, you should do that for Halloween. And I was like, oh yeah, I should. And then I did these ones instead. And he was like, I thought you were going to do the black ones. But whenever I ask him what color I should do, he always chooses blue or green. I'm like, okay, pick a different color. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Like, probably pretty good. If you wanted to go a little bit farther with some of these, because like I said, we're going to put the lighter color into all of these threads. So we're going to actually, you want to put the red up and down more than you want to, because you're going to put the lighter color in all of the middle part. Does that make sense? So in order to blend it and make it not look like a straight line, you're going to have to put long and short stitches into the middle. All right. So if you're thinking, oh, that looks perfect, I did the perfect amount according to the stencil, then you probably need to go back and put some more longer stitches in there. Okay. So I'm going to flip it over, do a little knot. Of course, I've got a knot on the back. Just going to leave that there. Ooh. Maybe you should snip the thread and not your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to put the lighter color on. I don't have a number for the lighter color, but I'll put them on the thing whilst I put this on so you can see what they'll look like. So it's just a little bit lighter, a little bit pinky. But definitely not like, bam, it's pink. Can you tell the difference? All right, here we go. So again, I'm just going to start right in the middle and then go all the way over, making sure that the middle ones are straight up and down. And as I move over, they go at an angle. So this is where I'm mixing the three kind of stitches together. So I want to go up through these other ones, and I don't care if it's through the actual stitch. I just want to make sure that all my stitches, one, are covering all of this white space, also are long and short. So this is where I say it's like long and short stitch, but like also a little bit of split stitch, because if it goes through, I do not care. It doesn't matter. And again, this is where the long and short is really going to make a difference. So I do not want to see a big rectangle of satin stitch in the middle of your mushrooms, okay? So some will be much longer and some will be much shorter. I'm not sure that I like this color, but I'm just going to go with it. It'll be fine, right? Okay. Can you tell? Like I said, I'm really not in love with this color, but I could tell right when I put it on. Not a bit of me, this one, but I think it's going to work for what I want it to be, you know? So you want to make sure that you're following those lines, the grid lines. Also filling it in so that you don't see any white. So what I'm trying to avoid here, I hope I'm explaining this right. I feel like I keep adding to it, but what I'm trying to avoid is starting a stitch right where I've ended another stitch. So we don't really want this. We want them to be like this, intermingled or into each other. So we don't want to see a stitch starting and stopping like this because that's where you're going to be able to see them. Like boom, boom. And it'll make almost like a little hole or like an indent. So that's why we did the red taller and longer than we wanted. So from the bottom up, we went a little bit farther up. And then from the top down, we went a little bit farther down, so that we could try and avoid having the 2 stitches that start and stop in the same space. So like using the same hole. Do we have any questions yet about anything? Are we all right? So it is a little bit like a thread by number, you know, thread paint by number, because we're not necessarily blending them all together using 4 or 5 different shades to, like, you know, really make them look seamlessly transitioned or anything like that. And if you have to do 2 stitches, you can do 2 stitches as well in the middle of this if you need to get that curve. Because sometimes if you just do one long one, then maybe it won't look right. Sometimes it just depends. All right, what do we think? Can you do it? I think you can do it. 100%, I think you can do it. And a lot of this is really like your choice as well. If you wanted to make more of it red, you could do more of it red. Love. Mel says she loves it, so that's all I need. And this is another one where if you have to do 2 stitches like I've just done, they do blend together. You don't really see them. Now, another thing that you can do if you find that you've gotten a little bit out of control with your middle color here, and you think, oh crap, I've really, you know, covered a lot of that to where it does look like a straight line. You can always go back with your red and put a couple more longer ones that go up in there, and I'll show you how that looks as well. Someone says, would variegated thread look all right here? You can definitely try, but you're not going to get the same effect like this. Does that make sense? They'll all still go together, meaning like they'll be smooth. But because of the color change, you won't get the same look. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense there, but okay. Let me just have a wee look. Whilst I still have this, I want to make this go straight to the edge, so I don't want to have that stem stitch right there. I want to make it go all the way to the edge. Now I'm going to get the red again, and before I start the other side, It wasn't too bad. It was about 25 minutes by the time I was finished explaining everything and talking, which I tend to do a lot of, and I'm very sorry about that, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands and it's clear. Because really not that difficult, but as far as like techniques and things, it's more about the direction of your stitches and then the colors that you use. So as long as you use the colors and you do the stitches, then it'll be fine. You'll be fine. Totally fine. You'll be totally fine. All right, so this is what I mean. If you find that any part of your middle color has gotten too far down or too far up, or meaning too far down here or too far up here, or if it's all the same, too much of the same, like each of your stitches are the same length, then you could always come back in and just put a couple stitches, not loads, because you don't want to make it so that you have to go back with the other color again, you know? But even by putting a couple stitches in, you'll really like break it up. Oh. Just make sure that you're going on the same angle as before. So we don't want to start putting them down like this, because you're just going to see that so bad. So you want to make sure that they're on the same angle as all of your other stitches. Yeah, that's nice. And then I might do one up here too. These colors are so close together. I feel like I probably could have used a better one. But there you go. So let me zoom out again so then you can have a little look. This is what it looks like. What do we think? Now, as you travel over, this whole side here is all this dark red color. So it kind of stops, the lighter color stops just right there. So should I keep going? Should I come back later? I want to keep going because I'm in the zone. Dots. I don't know what that means. I'm always a little bit conscious of like making the videos super long. I'd like to see how you manage the dots. So we're going to do that next week at the very end on French Knot Day, because you can't do it at the same time as this. The spots, yeah. So that will be on French Knot Day. Well, I'll explain all of the French knots because it needs to, I can't just tack it on the end of a video, you know? So this is all we're doing today. Just this bit. Hi, Jessica. You're up early, girl. Now, obviously, mine's going to look a little bit weird because I've pulled that stem stitch, the little outline that we did. You could also do a back stitch if you wanted to, but I always find that when you do the back stitches, where your stitches come together, sometimes the threads can fall in there. So if you are thinking, well, I don't want to do a stem stitch around the outside, you could do a split stitch instead if you wanted. That's okay too. Zoom in, please. I will in a little bit. I'm doing the exact same thing on this side as I did on the other side. And don't forget, this is where I'm going longer. So the actual line was more like up here more, and you want to go longer so that you can blend those in. Oh, I thought it was an ad on my thing. The YouTube channels that I've been watching, they don't have ads on them. And then just at the beginning, which I normally play like before you guys like get on. But recently there's been some in the middle as well, which is interesting. Watch out for any knots around here as well. So as you go over, especially around these here, if you put a knot around there, then watch out. Wasn't really following my own guidelines here very well. This is what I mean where I say it's like very forgiving, because you can always just stitch over top of it. And that's all right. I always find that if I have the hoop on an angle like it was before, then I tend to stitch on an angle as well. So that's a bit. There you go. I've got about 5 more minutes left before I have to go. Another thing that I always get asked about when doing this is, do I have to do a certain color first? No, you can do the middle if you want first. Just make sure that you make the middle a lot bigger than you think you should, because obviously we're going to go over that a lot. I need the red again. And since we're only using 2 strands, you think you're using a lot of thread, but actually you're only using 2 strands of the 6. So your thread goes a lot longer, a lot farther than it normally would if you do like 6 strands or 4 strands even. And then down in this corner here is all red, so you can go straight across with the red. You don't have to make 2 separate stitches if you don't want to. Honestly, I cannot wait to see your mushrooms. I think they're gonna look so good. And if you Google different types of mushrooms, mushrooms come in all kinds of colors. So if you're not keen on the red color for your mushroom, then use a different color. I know someone's doing a blue one, which I think is gonna look amazing. I know someone else said they were gonna do like a grayish color, like a beige, I guess. So there we go. So obviously you have the whole weekend to do this. Don't forget there's also the giveaway for this little guy. So you just have to tell me what stitch you used. Put it in your stories. I've been taking screenshots of all of them. So if you haven't entered, then you can enter until 8 o'clock tonight, my time. So if you're in the Eastern time zone, that's minus 5 hours. And then I'll probably end up drawing the winner tomorrow morning. And you'll win a pattern of your choice that's already in the shop. I was trying hard yesterday not to say all the names of the stitches because I wanted you guys to remember them, but of course I did say some. They're also in the descriptions in all of the YouTube and IGTV videos. So I'm just going to go back and check and make sure, one, that they've all uploaded, because I've got a bit of an internet problem recently where, like, if too many people are on the internet, then it, like, just stops. It just won't upload it to YouTube all the way. So it'll look like it has, but then when I go to check on it, it's not. So I'm just going to go back and check that all of the videos are up there. I think they are, but I can't be certain. They're all on IGTV though, so if you look up at the IGTV, then you'll find them there. So if you're ever like, oh, I don't know what this stitch is called, you can go and look it up there. This is definitely one of those stitches that looks like a mess until you actually finish it, and then you're like, oh, I did that. You know? Oh, what's this? Time to stand. I have been standing. That's the only thing that I am a little bit like about the Apple Watch, is it tells me when I need to stand up, which is great, but I'm already standing up. I have been standing up for an hour. It's just that I've been standing still. So it's like, you need to get your exercise minutes in. You need to walk around. You need to stretch. Not moving your arm up and down enough. Yeah, definitely. Because my arm is just staying in the same spot. Mine does the same. Like I've been standing up to like draw a lot of patterns or like write the patterns out. I'm definitely just flapping my arm on to the side right now. So I'll be standing up a lot, but then it'll be like, you need to stand up, do your goal. You turned it off, Mel. Don't turn it off. You did it. Yeah, I just flapped my arm to the side for a while. All right, guys, I have to go because this video is going to be too long pretty soon. I'll use my thread up first. Yes, because my Samsung would say the same for move, and that got annoying. It does get annoying, but I find I'm like trying to be more active now, whereas before I would sit on the sofa and stitch for hours and like not get up. So I think it's good for me. I find like my legs would get stiff and stuff. If I'm like sitting in the same place for too long. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see your guys' mushrooms. I know I've already said it, but I cannot wait. I got Ring Fit to help. It's a Nintendo game for exercise. Ooh, that sounds good. Like even little things like chasing Jessie around the house, like that counts towards like your exercise goal as long as you get your heart rate up. And then I've been like trying to do more yoga for like being flexible, but also for like sitting at your desk. So there's like in my yoga app, there's like a yoga for people who sit at their desk basically. So I've been doing that, and that's been helping. I always said I would never get one, but I'm actually quite glad that I did. Okay, I obviously need to go back with more red and fill in some of this white space because I can see it. But there we go. An hour of like constant stitching. But I just have to fill in that part. Obviously, if I would have chose a lighter color, it would have had more of an impact like that does, like the white does on that side. You know? Whereas that's a little bit like same. But I'm not going to cut it out. But mushrooms come in so many different colors, it really doesn't matter, like, what colors that you pick. Oh my god, it looks so pretty already. Thanks. Your guys' are going to look even prettier. Come on, get it together. Make a knot. I did it. All right, so this is what we've got. Be sure to tag me in the giveaway before 8 o'clock at night. You've got the whole weekend to finish just this top here. So no other part of the mushroom needs to be done. We have not done that yet, just this top. And then catch up on anything that you haven't done yet, which for me is that. And obviously this part. So yeah, make sure that you tag me in the giveaway at the Barmy Fox and make sure that the line comes up underneath. Otherwise, I won't see it. Or you can use the @mention button if you swipe up. And tag your hoop with the Barmy Fox SAO. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely, lovely weekend. And I'll see you on Monday. All right? Bye.